So this came up last night as I was going through the edits of my book, 5 Nights in Marfa, and excuse me, I started to get really tired, and I went back to one chapter and I realized that I was like kind of like over editing, but then had this like all these like monstrous what ifs come up of like, what if like no one's gonna like this book? What if these editors and these publishers look at this book and they're gonna be like, what is this? What is this piece of like hot garbage that this chick has sent me, you know? And then I realized that these what ifs were something that they were things that were coming up because I was too tired and I was overworking myself. So I went to sleep, and as some of you know, if you look at my other videos, I do lucid dreaming. And in the lucid dreaming, you know, you go to bed and like you have a question in mind, like you like intentionally state like, I want to remember my dreams. So last night I was like, what is the message that I'm missing here while I'm doing these edits? And then I woke up and the message was, don't look for answers in places where you've already spent too much time in or where you've already lived in. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like, don't over edit things. If you edit something to the point of rigidity, then like it's not going to be malleable anymore for anyone. So like you have to give it some room to still be molded, to take ideas from editors. As we know, like publishers and editors, they're always going to give recommendations. So I thought, okay, that's interesting. That's like a good piece of information to know. So today I'm going to finish up my read through on the last 30 pages. And then this morning, a talk from Alan Watts came up. And the talk from Alan Watts was about not forcing things. And I've spent a lot of time especially, you know, living in like rural areas in my travel trailer. As I was traveling, I listened to a lot of Alan Watts about the philosophy of life. And so I've come to really appreciate the information that he gives. And then in later years, I started to listen to Sadhguru, who also has some really great ideas, but and philosophies about things. So anyhow, I was just smiling because I was thinking about Sadhguru on his motorcycle with his beard blowing in the wind. I'll post I'll post the videos from Alan Watts and Sadhguru below about working too hard and forcing things. Now these came into mind because I realized last night that I was like really trying to force things a little bit too hard. And I was trying to force like how much I could get done of the read through and like polishing things and tidying things up in one night. And I started to really hit the wall. And that's when the what ifs started to creep up and the ego started to talk and the self-doubt started to spiral. The talk that came up this morning, ironically enough, was about not forcing things. And it's a Taoist approach. And when Alan Watts talks about not forcing things, he's talking about how if we force things, it might not like what our goal was in mind, what we wanted to manifest might not come to fruition in the initial spark of how we wanted it to come in, and it might not come into fruition of what it was that we wanted. So if we force something, we go too fast on something, there might be errors, it might be sloppy, it might not be exactly what we wanted. Now, in some ways that could be okay, but in other ways, you might be settling for something that you didn't really want in the first place. And then there's all these troubles that come. So I was thinking about this morning, and like, for instance, I was thinking about someone who wants love in their life so badly that they settle for someone who they don't necessarily want. Like, they don't check off the boxes of someone that they want in their life. Or wanting to buy a house so badly that you settle for something that you didn't really love. Like it wasn't the idea of what you really wanted to have, but you just really wanted the idea of buying something, which I've actually done that. I bought a condo in Washington that I didn't 100% love, and it was a nightmare. But lesson learned. We all, whatever, life is a big practice run, right? The other thing that came to mind is getting a job. So thinking like, okay, I'm gonna force getting this job, and it's not necessarily the job that I want, but it's in a company that I want to work for. At one point in my life, there was a place that I really wanted to work for, and I wanted to get my foot in the door, even if it meant getting a job that I was way overqualified for. And then I came to find out later that me trying to force the issue really wasn't helping any, and that it actually wasn't a place that I really wanted to work in the first place, because then I found out all these people that were working there were like super burnt out and like really unhappy and unhealthy. And I came to know that I just need to like trust the process and like take a break. Like if things aren't going the direction that you want them to go to, like just trust in the process and just take a break. Okay. So those are just some things that I've kind of like learned along the way. But what Alan Watts talks about in like not forcing things, and those are some examples of like not forcing things, but what he talks about in not forcing things too is that when we force something so hard and we're so hard on ourselves, that what it is that we were doing, it starts to become not so fun anymore, and we're really hard on ourselves. And we're so hard on ourselves that what we were doing, like what we were focused on, isn't fun anymore. And then we don't want to do it anymore. So if we come back and we look at it with a healthy exploration, knowing that we don't know everything, that we don't have all the answers, but we're trusting in the process of getting there, and that we have our goal in mind, that's the way that we're going to get there. Sadhguru talks about, in a talk that he has, about working hard. And there's this common misconception that we have as human beings, that if we work really, really hard, that we're going to get to where we want to go. But when we put that negative mind frame onto it of working really, really hard, it makes us not want to do it anymore, because it's not fun. Things that are really hard aren't fun. But if we put a positive mind frame on it, like say for instance, cardiovascular exercise, we put stress on the body as we're running along, and then eventually we have peak cardiovascular conditioning. But if we are like, think of it as something hard, and it's something that we're working really hard at, and we are stressing ourselves constantly, and we just keep saying that it's really hard, then we're not going to want to do it anymore, right? So, but if we have fun running, and like we put on like positive music, and we have good scenery, and we're doing it with friends, and it's something that we really enjoy, and we're creating stress on the body, but we're building muscle, and we're seeing the positive results, that is what is going to keep you up in reaching your goal, right? Is trusting in the process and knowing that this is something that you really want, and having fun in the process of doing it. So those were the things that just came up for me this morning in my morning thoughts. Now, when it comes to the what-ifs are sneaky little devils that pop up when we're like really tired and cause a bunch of self-doubt. Ways to defeat these are mindfulness, creating balance, and gratitude. So when we look at creating balance, how would we do that? I think for me, it would be exercising, meditating, eating a nutritious diet, knowing when to push, but knowing when to take a break. When those what ifs come up, think of it as okay, I'm gonna think about 5 things that I'm grateful for, or maybe even just 3 things that I'm grateful for, right? So like last night, I was grateful that I knew when to take a break, when to take a step back. I was grateful for the dream that I had last night to help me have the aha moment that I needed to finish up the edits this morning. And I was grateful for the Alan Watts talk that came up this morning. And I was grateful for the synchronicity of the Rolling Stones song that came up. Time is on my side, right? Ironically, that song came up, and Rick Rubin also talks about this in his book, The Creative Act, A Way of Being, where he talks about synchronicities, right? So like, sometimes there's these things that are affirmative in letting us know that we are on the right path. And that was one of those things. Time is on my side, right? So I was super grateful for that too. It was like another one of those like aha moments. Mindfulness. So practicing meditation twice a day is something that I try to do. It doesn't happen all days because I'm human and life happens, but I usually meditate in the morning and then once before I go to bed. And that helps to make me a little less reactive during the day, and it just kind of centers me. So you can do guided meditation, sound meditation, transcendental meditation. There are lots of different kinds of meditation out there that you can dive into, and a lot of them you can actually check out on YouTube. And then lastly, creating balance. So balance is just about like taking a rest when you need to, eating a nutritious meal when you're hungry, going outside, getting sun, getting fresh air, just whatever you can do, to create balance in your life, making sure that you're reaching out to friends and family and that you have the social support that you need. These are all really important things to create balance and to restore peace in your life as you are working towards your goals. So anyhow, that is what I have today on not forcing things and defeating the what ifs, just my morning thoughts for February 12th, 2023. I almost said 1923. That would be wild. We'd time travel back through space and time. But no, alas, we are here in 2023. If you like the information that I am throwing out there into the universe, then please like and subscribe. And I will see you guys all another day at another time. Okay.